And welcome back to the channel, everybody. Welcome back to another video. And today we're going to talk about the lawsuit against Carlos Tavares, Natalie Knight, and Stellantis by the shareholders and an attorney in New York. I was able to pull the entire lawsuit filing, and I will go through it with you so you can understand kind of what's going on and also share my absolutely uneducated opinions, as I am not a lawyer. I am simply a fan and have been a fan of Dodge for many years, and I'm not happy with what's been going on. I think a lot of you who watch this channel are not jumping up and down about losing our beloved Hemis, losing our beloved gas cars, and had they rolled out a twin-turbo i6 now, we might be able to pinch our nose and go and try it out and give it a shot. People keep saying, why don't you just give it a shot? Because you're trying to hurl me from the ocean to the fire by saying, give up the Hemi, give up gas, and go electric. And that's a little bit of a whiplash scenario that I am not prepared to fully accept.
This is bullshit!
I'm not patient enough to sit at a battery charger.
Go! No, listen, we're in line. I've been waiting for 30 minutes. It's my turn. I came around to take the spot. You f***ing liar!
I'm not patient enough to drag cables in to my garage, nor am I brave enough. And this is absolute naivete, because I do absolutely... Because I absolutely do understand that electric cars are not out there bursting into flames, and nor do I want to create any giant, fear-mongering scenario about electric cars bursting into flames. But the fact is that when they do catch on fire, it is really, really hard to put those fires out. So for that reason, you won't catch me putting a Dodge electric car in my garage, which is directly below my daughter's bedroom. Call me crazy, but I'm not willing to roll those dice with something this new. Tesla, I'd probably take that chance. I mean, they've been proven to not be bursting into flames in garages, even though there are news reports that this apparently has happened with, I believe, Teslas and other electric cars. But it is so rare that your gas car is likely to burst into flames, just as likely as it is one of these EVs. But I'm not taking a chance with the first year Dodge EV built by a company that is laying off everybody who I believe potentially could have done a better job or a decent job at building it. Fair enough. And I also want to address, before I jump into this lawsuit, that I understand that there's some animosity taking place in the YouTube community, mainly speaking of the Dodge muscle car YouTube community, and I've gotten messages from probably more of you than I would have imagined about a particular YouTuber that I've called a friend for a long time that is extremely angry and hostile at, quote, the perpetual, nonstop, every single video, negative Dodge content coming from certain channels. I resemble that remark. And I believe he's referring to me and TK and Butter and maybe others. But I believe that I'm definitely included in that bunch. And I just wanted to address with all of you, because I know that periodically there are some comments from you that believe that I've gone to this perpetually negative video place, and it's tiring, and why can't I say something positive? And yet the last video I believe I put up where a Dodge dealer actually did me right, was fair, was honest about the pricing on the phone. It was not somebody lying, cheating, and thieving. Got like 14,000 views. Yet the video where the guys were lying, cheating, and thieving, it's probably rounding 200,000 views at this point. So, I try to do the positive content, but y'all don't like it that much. But I want to make it very clear that I am a realist. I am a realist in that, let me just read the Oxford Languages definition of realist so that I'm not even making things up here, because I'm not trying to just be negative. Let me just read this and tell me if this doesn't sound absolutely apropos for the situation and time that we're in with this brand. A realist, a person who accepts and deals with a situation as it really is and does not try to pretend that it is different. Let's go ahead and read realism. A way of seeing, accepting, and dealing with situations as they really are without being influenced by your emotions or false hopes. I would say that these both fit me perfectly. And comment below if you agree that it probably fits your feelings about this. I'm not here to try and paint a rosy picture or give a chance to something that I don't believe is right. I also come from a place of right versus wrong, and when I see a CEO doing massive, what I believe and I perceive to be massive damage to a beloved brand that I've invested close to probably around $500,000 into their products, it sucks because I didn't want to go purchase a Mustang. I did not want to go purchase a Chevy of any kind. I came from the BMW and Mercedes high performance world and leapt off that cliff into the Dodge universe only to find myself here going, I really don't got anything to buy, and I'm not buying an EV. And late 2025, maybe there will be a twin-turbo i6 that I can go try out and maybe wade into those waters. But I have so much vitriol and resentment towards Stellantis and its CEO, and more layoffs. Go watch TK's videos. More and more and more layoffs. And you know what? I'm not even here to defend the UAW because they made a deal, frankly, with the devil when they held everybody up for massive, massive increases, thinking that a company like Stellantis wouldn't get them in the end. And it appears that that's exactly what's happening. So just to address the other YouTuber that's out there that's really mad about all this content, here's the deal. I'm just telling things like they are. If something positive comes up, I would be happy to report it, even though no one's going to watch those videos. And in the end, I don't want an electric car. And there's likely no chance in hell that I'm going to go and even want to consider purchasing one of those things for my channel. It's not something that would fit into my life. And I don't like the direction of the company. So I'm going to speak up because I believe the only way we can possibly affect change is if we stand up for what we believe in and we share our feelings as customers and not just say, okay, I'll try it. Okay, if you tell me that's what I want, maybe that's what I want. No, I know what I want. I'm willing to try new things to a certain level, but when it comes to an electric vehicle, it's not for me. It's not something that I want for fun. For work, absolutely. For commuting, I would have no problem. Who knows? Maybe someday I'll buy one of those just to drive to work with my mask on.
And I wear a mask when I'm alone in my car. Still, in the current year.
And I'll black out my windows and I will drive to work in that thing because it will be practical for that purpose. But for my fun life, for the short life that we all have and that I know I have here on this planet, I want to drive something fun. And I want it to make loud sounds, and I want it to rumble, and I want it to smoke the tires, and I want it to make natural sounds while I'm smoking those tires. And you know what? I'm cool if I break a drive shaft and rip out a rear end once in a while, and all those great things that happen with gas cars. Now let's talk about this lawsuit. All right, so first, before we get into the actual lawsuit, I just want to real quick just help. I think everybody does understand this, but I mean, when it comes to being a CEO at a large publicly traded company or an officer in any company, you have what's called a fiduciary obligation to that company, and that comes down to a really simple statement of utmost good faith as a corporate officer, director, fiduciaries. And I believe that to a level that you've got Carlos making crazy, pretty bold and crazy decisions and making statements like, laying off people, it's not taboo. Getting rid of brands is not taboo. Those kinds of statements aren't statements that you would hear or you have heard from many other CEOs. And these are statements, as I shared in other videos, that are a little bit terrifying if I'm a shareholder and for sure if I'm an employee there. But if I'm a shareholder, that's an issue. But that's not what this lawsuit's about. This lawsuit, and you can go read the articles all over the internet. Reuters has one where they explain in pretty pretty clear simplicity that basically what happened was that this year in the first quarter, you've got Carlos Tavares got up with his CFO and told everybody things are going to be great. They're going to get their pricing squared away. I think it's down here. All right, here's what they say in this article about the lawsuit. The complaint filed on Thursday in Manhattan federal court said Stellantis, mainly Carlos Tavares and Natalie Knight, the CFO, artificially inflated its stock price for much of 2024 by making overwhelmingly positive assessments about inventories, pricing power, new products, and operating margin. And as a result of this second quarter earnings call, they missed their expectations completely and are going in the other direction. Of course, I've got to say that, of course, Stellantis says that this lawsuit has no merit and they will defend it vigorously. But they did name Carlos Tavares and Natalie Knight directly as defendants. And under the fiduciary obligations and responsibility, they could have potential liability as individuals. My understanding is for what they said and what they did if they were to be found guilty. But I don't know that will happen. Here's their fiduciary obligations: obedience, loyalty, duty of care, duty of good faith and fair dealing, and fiduciary duty of disclosure. And I believe that's probably what they're going to be focused on in this lawsuit. But let's go ahead and jump over and just take a look at the lawsuit. And up here you can see that they named Stellantis, Carlos Tavares, Natalie M. Knight. She's the CFO, so he's the CEO personally. And we can go down here and read what the actual details of the accusations are. So they say in this lawsuit, defendants provided investors with material information regarding Stellantis' expected revenue for the full year of 2024. Defendants' statements included, among other things, Stellantis' reduction of inventory levels. Watch, has not happened. It's only gotten worse. Pricing improvements and expansion of its product offering, thereby supporting defendants' decision to forecast double-digit adjusted operating income margin in 2024, as well as positive industrial free cash flow. Defendants provided these overwhelmingly positive statements to investors while at the same time disseminating materially false and misleading statements and or concealing material adverse facts concerning inventory levels, pricing, and market stabilizations. These caused plaintiff and other shareholders to purchase Stellantis securities at artificially inflated prices. Let's just take guesses here, not being an attorney, but when they're saying disseminating materially false and misleading statements, we heard rumors that Stellantis was having dealers buy trucks and buy vehicles and putting them into their fleet for loaner cars to show more sales. These are rumors that we heard. We don't know if that's true or not. So I'm just saying that when you hear these disseminating materially false, misleading statements or concealing material adverse effects regarding and concerning inventory levels, makes you wonder, could that have been the situation? Pricing and market share stabilizations. I would bet that that's tied towards the slow walking of incentives, slow walking of dropping prices. The dropping of prices did not create more sales. Things continued to get worse with inventory, and their incentives were just lackluster at best, and still are. Unless you want to go buy a Jeep, I think they're finally getting to some level of reality. But you've got the Dodge products. No, the Hornet's still wildly too expensive, and that's why it's sitting there. But when they said, "Oh, we're getting our pricing squared away," that never happened. And then they launched this thing. This EV Dodge Charger, and they price it for rich people. So that's not a company who's trying to go capture the bigger portion of the market and the big available buyer pool. And it just, I think it tells everybody things are going to get worse. The truth emerged on July 25th, 2024, when defendants issued a press release announcing their financials for the first half. So this was second quarter earnings call. In pertinent part, defendants' results missed consensus and were expected as disappointing near-term outlook. So that was where this whole thing came down to, where these attorneys decided to go ahead and reach out to the shareholders and look for somebody who would be a class rep and anyone who wanted to jump in on this. And I believe what we're going to hear as this lawsuit progresses is statements that Carlos made about, burning brands or closing brands down, and the perpetual cuts and issues with the company, and then the product quality issues and the recalls and all these things are going to happen that continually affect the stock price will be brought out. But they literally quote the entire earnings call and positive outlook from the first earnings call after first quarter compared to the second one, and then the actual results that are taking place and the drama that's taking place in the company. And it goes on and on to discuss how things are not what he said they were. And as a result, they're actually addressing the questions that the analysts are asking Carlos. I mean, they're going to try to make him out to be a big, huge liar for what happened in the second quarter. But I'll tell you, I think we all would agree that these are only going to get worse. And this is basically the crux of the entire lawsuit, is he overinflated and was way too positive, making everybody think he had a handle on this thing, and it just kept getting worse and worse. And you better believe they're going to bring up his humongous salary that he is getting paid. And as a result, him pushing for that and the board supporting it has put humongous eyeballs on him in every action he takes. So this is the lawsuit. Feel free to slow down and read through it, but I just thought I'd share with you all just the basics of it. I don't want to bore you with all this stuff, but you can literally slow down this video and read every bit of this extremely boring but entertaining stuff, and I'll share with you just my quick thoughts. They did not, by the way, they did not ask for a specific amount of damages. They're not asking for anything yet. They can go through that later on. They can even go through that in trial, where they have to articulate what the losses actually were. And when you have shareholders suing, I mean, it could be the entire drop in the market cap that he's asking for. Who knows what they're going to ask for? Let's just get off of that other screen, and I'll share my thoughts. I think, as much as I would love to see Carlos Tavares get raked over the coals, I think this lawsuit doesn't do anything to help the stock. So when shareholders file lawsuits saying that it's because the company is not doing as well as the CEO said it would do, it certainly is not going to help the stock, and it's going to cause a lot more grief amongst the shareholders. So it's one of those things where, if you live in a community and you find out that 20 years from now there's going to be new homes built across the street where there's a beautiful view, and you decide to picket with your family and friends and get all the neighbors start picketing, and now the Channel 7 News shows up and puts you on the news, you just killed the values in your entire neighborhood. Then you find out that development's never going to happen because there's a kangaroo rat that lives on that lot. So this is the outcome that could take place. I'm not defending it. I think Carlos deserves to be raked over the coals and have to answer to all of the statements that he's been saying and all the actions that he's been making. I believe the CFO should be sitting right next to him explaining why their only solution to almost every single problem they have is to deliver more overpriced cars and cut more jobs, cut more expenses, and not deliver a product that's affordable to the consumer, which is what I'm just talking about Dodge here, but even Jeep, Chrysler, Ram, what they're not doing now, everything is so ridiculously expensive that they're not getting pricing in line, that they're going to have inventory continuing to become bloated and inflated. So what could this lawsuit do? Well, they're going to defend it, and it's a rounding error to their financials to defend this thing. And I don't know that they have a chance of winning this thing either. I'm not an attorney, but I think it's going to be one hell of a case for us to all watch. What I do hope is that the board of directors of Stellantis realizes that, hey, look, at this point, Carlos just being here is doing more bad than good. His presence is causing us more grief than we need. And if we put someone else in charge who's more moderate and more more today looking than in the future looking, because it could take forever to fix the price of the stock of this company on Carlos's path. He's talking about 2, 3, 4 years. Dare forward plan, 2030 or something like that. Maybe they'll be great then, but right now, Wall Street's going to kick their ass all over the place. This attorney is going to put them through hell and back, which means Carlos doesn't have fans anywhere. So changing him, maybe there would be a chance that, at the very least, get that twin-turbo i6 delivered sooner. Stop slow rolling it, hoping you're going to get us to like the EV. I believe that's part of the strategy. There's no reason why they can't put that i6 in one of those, what I think are very nice-looking Chargers right now and start selling those things. I believe this whole slow rolling is to try to jam the EVs down our throat and hope that that succeeds. I still don't think it will. So that's me being negative one more time and sharing with you the facts, the actual real facts of this lawsuit that have been filed in New York. And I'd love to know what you think about this in the comments below. Let me know. Please like, subscribe, comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
So we do respect the brands. We respect the fan bases of the brands, but there is no taboo. If they are not able to monetize the value that they represent, then decisions will come.